gotta record, and we're recording, and I don't even know what to say. It's been a whole week. How does D&D work? What game is this again? I've showed up to Mordecai in his phylactery with the spells. Yes, that's the game. It's Clue. I'm in another server. And just made a lot of weird, out of context, not D&D, but D&D jokes, and that's what I've been doing coming up to this. But now I'm rambling. Welcome. Time has come for Book 4 of the Kingmaker Adventure Path. Blood for templates and 3 out of 4 new arts, and
a fourth one coming next week.
Good. I was gonna ask, what do we need a set here. We need the person who's
honest. Like, I've been holding out on the artwork because I did not know, like, when we first started, I did not know how long this was going to last and whether or not this was going to be worth it. But, like, now that we're over a year in, I definitely think I need an update.
Boom. And if you support Tommy on Patreon, you too can deliberate for a year about whether or not these games are worth it. Thank you all, the 4 of you, for your support, keeping us a pandemic-proof and really just being fun and decent and good and great people. A bunch of my games had weird, like, I'll talk about it after, so it's not on the recording, so I'm not just venting for 15 minutes. Anyway, last time a lot of things happened. Tears were shed. I've never done that one before. I make jokes about making the players cry sweet tears as their characters suffer permanent debilitations, but never like this. Not like this. And back home to pick up the pieces, to adjust, to return to peace, dare we say, as the book is called Blood for Blood, return for peace. Peace for peace, 0 blood. Anybody want to go first for that hero point, or should I yeet this D4?
I don't mind going, just because I might be one of the only ones without something written today.
I'll follow because I also don't have anything written.
But mostly because the timeline's a little like weird, because I feel like a lot of what I'll be reflecting on, we're going to actually roleplay out today. So, so like, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and if it's all okay to everyone else, since y'all don't have prepared, I have a prepared one, but I would like it to possibly roll into like a very quick, it won't be long, but a very brief, like, first RP part of the session. So if I could go last, then it would just flow better into.
No, Asker and I didn't prepare anything, so you can't read yours.
Boom.
There it is. But anyway, so yeah, that's of course fine with me. Gosh, where to begin? Again, a lot of this I'm kind of saving, but I guess suffice it to say, last time Ionia stabbed her eyes out, and kind of like I was saying when I had my section of the template handout, Artoris's feelings were very conflicted, still probably are very conflicted as to Ionia's actions. That's, I would say, like, 2 things on his mind going into the inevitabilization of himself were the spreading of the First World influence over the land, which naturally would concern someone that is obsessed with order, and the other side being Ionia, where again, it's like a nice cocktail of emotions. There's a certain extent that he's proud of her for doing what she perceived to be her duty, regardless of the personal cost. But then there's also kind of more selfishly, he's angry with her because it's like, I was sent here to protect you, and you did this to yourself, which not only is me kind of, or rather Artoris, sort of coming up short in his duty, but also makes it more difficult potentially going forward. So those would be the main things on his mind, again, going into the evening, the thunderstorm evening. And I think the rest of it I kind of want to play out in character, so that will be my reflection.
Boom. Good enough, my guy. Take that hero point, and on to... Oh, I have to burp. Oh no. I'm gonna mute. Ionia, go. You got this. Go, 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 go.
All right, so I'm playing Ionia, no longer mostly human occultist. Now, I guess, mostly dragon occultist. So that's new. Wow. This last session was pretty big for Ionia between, you know, blinding herself to put an end to the threat that's been, kind of tormenting us for a while now. It's also responsible for kind of tearing her family apart. So similar to Artoris, I think she's probably got kind of mixed feelings about that, of pride, resentment, probably a little bit of fear, and just all sorts of raw emotion. And then kind of followed by her best friend, who she was certain was dead, not in fact being dead. Probably just kind of adds to that cocktail. Seeing all of her family members in the dreamscape, I'm sure was probably pretty crazy. It was for me anyways. So yeah, a lot going on. I think Ionia is probably just a little shell-shocked from so much happening in such a short period of time.
Indeed, that's more than reasonable for the person who is. I still am just. It's hard to believe. I as a player would be very hard pressed to ever, like, here is a permanent debilitation to my build. Whoops. For the sake of the plot, and it is impressive, and it is badass, and take your hero point. And
Thanks.
Tara, your man says you have to go next because he has to go last. So
Right.
Process of elimination.
Fair enough. So I do have a little bit written down, so I'll just start there. It's an early morning, and the sun is just rising over the horizon, warming the treetops of the gnarled larches. The fog is still thick on the forest floor, and the wildlife slowly comes back to life. The songbirds are singing their morning song to herald a new dawn. Much of the forest is still asleep. Senya runs through the tree line, the wind whipping past her face. She weaves between the trees expertly. She is still learning the possibilities of the gift that was bestowed on her. She's faster now than she was before, even faster than Grom, and she pushes herself to find her new limits. She stops at a small brook, its rushing waters inviting her to take a break and quench her thirst. She approaches the stream to get a drink of water, and as she lowers her head, she catches her reflection. Staring back at her is a deer as black as night, with magnificent antlers speckled with moss and leaves and other debris that she gathered as she ran through the underbrush. She shakes her head, and the flotsam and jetsam falls into the water and is carried away by the stream. She pauses for one more moment to look at herself before lowering her head to the water to quench her thirst. A twig snaps somewhere in the distance, making her ears twitch and swivel to locate the sound. She raises her head and scans her surroundings. She can't see it yet, but she can feel it. A familiar scent of boot leather and old sweat tells her that she's being watched, being hunted. She raises her head up and sniffs the air to get a sense of where her stalker is hiding. She spots movement in the bushes 50, maybe 60 feet away from her. She springs up and dashes through the trees before an arrow has a chance to reach her. It whizzes past her and embeds itself in a tree trunk on the other side of the brook. She runs again, weaving between the trees, leaping expertly over deadfall, rushing past foliage that seems to fold in on itself to let her through. The hunter follows her. He is fast, but not fast enough. She can easily outrun and outmaneuver him. Having 4 legs to carry you does have its advantages. She leads him on a chase to more familiar grounds, and before he knows it, she is behind him. She finds her stash and shifts into her human form and grabs her bow and trains an arrow on the hunter's back. Tell me, hunter, have you received Durastal's blessing to hunt these grounds? And I am Senya, the last black stag. I play a Geminin invoker with a little bit of retooling and retraining, a rough rider. And last session I met, I guess, the king of the forest, and was bestowed a gift of Animal Lord. And I now can shapeshift into a stag and do other cool stuff.
Good. Hero point, A+, 10 out of 10, and on to MacLeod, take us home.
It took me a minute to realize she was in her stag form during that first part of the reflection. That was cool. Good job. Good job, Senya. All right, mine is a little more somber, so here we go. Upon reaching his bedchamber, Cato's body almost gave way beneath him, as the physical, mental, and emotional strain that he had undergone all began to catch up with him at once. Much had happened. Most of it he didn't even understand, but that could be dealt with tomorrow. Cato placed Prince down at the foot of his bed. The poor creature had fallen unconscious out of shock when the oculus was wrenched from his eye socket, and although the damage was healed, the wormling clearly needed its rest. That's another thing we'll have to deal with in the morning, Cato sighs, shuddering at the look of the empty eye socket. This day has enacted a terrible toll, Cato thought to himself, running his fingers down the massive scar on his chest where the blade of a woman he once called his friend had pierced him. His hand recoils as the scar is cold to the touch, almost frigid. A heavy toll indeed. And with that, Cato collapses onto the bed himself, his fatigue finally taking over. The dreams that visited Cato were nothing short of surreal. He experienced his own death, replaying itself over and over. Each time he fought Kalira, he attempted a new approach, a new tactic. Sometimes he tried to reason with her. Other times he attacked furiously and relentlessly, and each encounter ended the same, with a blade lodged into his chest. After dying over and over for what felt like the 100th time, Cato collapsed to his knees, screaming out for help, for some kind of reprieve. And at that moment, the image of Kalira in the battlefield around him faded away into blackness. Cato was now sitting naked, alone in the darkness, alone all except for a single cloaked figure standing before him, a pair of bright, golden eyes piercing him from beneath a cowl. It's you. You're the one I saw. You're the one who did this to me, Cato called out, placing his hand over the scar on his chest, running his hand down the cold, pale skin. You brought me back, but what have I become? What have you done to me? The figure begins to speak, though its voice seems to be coming from all directions at once. You were too weak to serve. Your flesh too soft, too fragile to be of use to me. I have made you better, stronger than you could ever hope to be. Cato spits back. Serve? What makes you think I will choose to serve you? The figure responds. What you choose to do is of no consequence to me. Simply surviving and growing your little kingdom here will be service enough. However, I am surprised to see such defiance from one who was so quick to perform my blood sacrament. Just remember, little king, how you failed to defeat her. Remember who it was who brought you back from the abyss. And remember who it was who has given you the strength to never fall again. Think on that, and know that what I have given you is but a taste of what could be. For all those who do my work will also carry with them my blessing. Cato is suddenly jolted awake, breathing heavily as sweat pours down his face. His eyes scan the room quickly, but everything is perfectly calm. It is early, very early, the sun only just coming up over the horizon, and Prince still slumbering at the foot of his bed. Cato quietly slips out of his bed and walks over to the mirror to look himself over in greater detail. He is shocked momentarily as he sees the bright yellow eyes staring back at him, the large, gnarly scar over his heart. While he still appears to be Cato Sicarius, many of his features have now changed. His skin is notably paler than before, his nails grown out to slightly resemble claws, his teeth pointed and razor-sharp, similar to those he saw when he first met Megaris Varn at the Hell Knight Citadel. Cato sighs to himself. Although strangely and surprisingly to himself, he isn't entirely revolted by his new form. Perhaps the new strength he felt beneath his flesh was making the appearance more palpable to him. With that said, he was acutely aware of what others, especially the regular citizens of Concordia, might think should they see him in this state. After racking his brain for the better part of an hour, he had an idea. Covering himself as best as he could, he called for a messenger, handing him a slip of paper and a gold coin before disappearing back into his room. The message was short and concise. Summon the other three here immediately. No one else. I am playing Cato Sicarius, son of Saul Sicarius, and the dead but reborn King of Concordia, who has been given the half-fiend template by our glorious GM, Tommy. So
It's me, I'm glorious. Hero points all around. Man, I miss this group when we don't play. Holy fuck. All right, yeah, fair enough. On we go. Unless the three of you have anything else you'd like to do this morning before the Lord, your demonic king, calls you to serve.
I'm just glad I didn't try and compete with either of those. Those are good.
Yeah, no
Where
kidding.
I always say this. It always bears repeating. The amount of like roleplay in this group and roleplay development that I have witnessed as the four of you as a unit and each of you individually is just baller.
Aw.
Fuck. But
Aw.
we gotta get down to business. We can't have in character reflections for 45 minutes when we only meet for 3 hours now.
Not again.
But indeed. Messengers find the three of you unless you take great pains to, well, unless you're Senia. Senia can, though all animal lords in their human form retain some vague, like, mannerism or build structure as the animal they're based on. So, like, Senia might be a little, like, leaner or taller or maybe even just thicker neck muscles to support the gigantic horns that could sprout out of her forehead from sometimes. Other than that, she basically looks samesies, but Ionia and Arcturus, it's unless you take pains to hide it. When the messenger finds you, they are left open-mouthed and agape.
Oh, I'm not hiding anything.
Yeah, I don't think I have any reason to hide mine.
And they just message sets the message down and then just bows and does that, like, doesn't break eye contact, bows, steps back a little more, clears the doorway, turns, and like they didn't see anything.
I would looks like we have a message. Pick it up and read it.
Not going to let Ionia read it?
But
Ouch.
God damn it.
Jeez.
Wait.
God damn it.
Reach up my hands. Start, feeling around. Yeah, no, that's not in Braille. So
It's rather short. It seems Cato wishes to meet with us.
oh well, that sounds like Kato.
Yeah, he likes these messages.
Just a
So
memorial
is this
great-
one is this one in the cemetery or
No, it
in
seems
some
to be
hidden chamber?
not this time. Somewhere much more appropriate. And I'll stand up and help her to her feet.
I still have legs. I know how to stand.
Fine. I let go of her.
I fall.
Just pantomime just falling face first.
Arcturus is somewhat exasperated. Minoru,
Where's my buddy?
I'm just waiting for Ivan to bark, if I'm honest.
He's
He's right there.
sitting right next to me. He came when I asked for my buddy.
He does.
He's pretty attached to me today after being away from me for 2 weeks.
help her follow us, please. Or, well, you follow me. Help her follow you. Whatever. And then Arcturus proceeds to turn and head toward. I assume you're in the new castle, right, Kato?
I haven't left Kato hasn't left his room since arriving.
Which is in the new castle. Okay. Yep. We'll make our
I
way there.
turn in the direction I think Minoru is, which is probably not the actual direction, and I shrug at the wall.
Fort Lichgrave.
God damn.
Fort Lichgrave.
Stand by, changing the name. Not Staggrave. The Fort of Many Graves!
It sank into the ground, so we built another one.
Sick reference.
Fort Grave.
Ooh.
Oh,
Too soon. But indeed, the three of you make your way to... the castle is not as, like, imposing as the Citadel in the mountains is, but it bears the same, like, architectural designs kinds of things. It's objectively much more defensible than what you had before, and you assume pains have been taken in such a way that, like, certainly the thing could be undermined, but not just like, whoop, undermined and down it goes. Considerable more effort and, like, knowledge of what you're doing would be required to undermine this thing.
that's good. To be fair, the original one was just a beefed up version of the Stag Lord's little fort, so...
Yeah, so it was really his failing.
Yeah, I blame him for everything.
It's those old Eubarians who built that tower there a long, long time ago and then led it to ruin.
And the
Rude.
previous owner didn't, like, keep up with the maintenance.
And as y'all make your way to the king's bedchamber, lots of folks see Arcturus, the way, and Ionia as well, the resting Super Saiyan 2 now. The way is cleared very quickly for you. In several cases, folks just outright prostrate themselves and bow. Time to time, a couple of, like, sprites armed with like bent needles that have made a poor simulacrum of an Aldori dueling sword, like, buzz around the sky and just fop on you and swing. The other one, like, feigns dead. My fop style was too weak, haha, but no, it wasn't. And
Oh
then
my
flips
god, I
forward,
love them.
stabs again. You hear the sound of an explosion from Bakin's workshop as you're walking, and you turn to look that direction, and just no fewer than, I guess Arcturus turns to look that direction, like 50 odd fairy dragons of various colors and sizes all just come bursting out of an open door. You can kind of hear Bakin just shrieking violent and murderous things at them as they all just, like, loop-de-loop in the air and make little crappy illusions of caricatures of Bakin. You think you hear Jubilost clapping and laughing somewhere in the background, but it's hard to say.
Oh, thank God.
You've got business to take care of. And you arrive in the throne room.
Throne room is empty.
Oh, wait. You arrive in the second throne room. The bedroom.
Fake throne. It's just it's a front.
Decoy throne room.
As
So
you-
I'm actually gonna do a thing, because I have things that I can do. I'm
Okay.
going to cast Third Eye, so I'm actually not gonna be, like, holding onto Minoru as, like, a seeing eye dog. I'm just going to be walking normally, as though I can see.
Fair. Okay, sounds good.
Oh, so you have an eye floating in front of you. That you see
It's
through.
invisible,
Right,
so yeah.
but
But
cool.
yeah.
It turns out the occultist has an answer for basically everything. It's,
Cultist is pretty sweet.
I'm playing in a dungeon crawl that's advertised as being mega hard, and there are 2 people playing that occultist archetype. If that tells you anything, but
That's cool. All right. Well, as you enter the room, there's a hooded, sort of robed figure faced away, and you just hear, as the door opens and you start to step in, "Come in quickly. Close the door."
Nice to see that death hasn't diminished your theatrics. Too soon? It's nice to have you back.
I give Ionia a look that what I've pieced together that you can see right now, based on walking together with you.
With your
I feel like.
with your insight, probably.
Yeah. I give you a look that's like you don't understand what you're commenting on. You don't know. And then I will wait near the door to close it once everyone has entered. Which I then do, assuming everyone enters.
Kato will then, once the door closes, Kato will stand, lower his hood, and turn around to face each of you. And I'm trying to think. I haven't seen you guys since your metamorphosis, have I?
You have not, no.
Oh.
I think only Artoris and I have seen each other.
Right.
And we just didn't comment on it at all because we're like that.
Because you're just like, have a silent understanding. Yeah. As he turns, Kato's eyes sort of widen and he smirks and says, I see.
Ouch.
Ionia, you're looking quite nice today.
I literally don't even have eyes right now. I don't even have a blindfold yet. It's just literally the empty sockets.
Oh, you and Prince should start a like a club.
Or like a band.
Oh my.
You could both take levels in Bard.
Boom.
Boom. All right. Anyway,
Because
sorry.
I hear that not being able to see makes you better at music or something, probably. I don't know.
I thought that was being deaf, but
That was just the one guy.
okay. Anyway, back on track. This is hilarious and I love it. But all right. So Kato steps forward, examining each of you. See, we've all had a very interesting past 24 hours or so. I keep saying "see." I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you stop saying that?
Looks at Senya and says, "You don't look much different.
Am I?
Are you taller?"
Am I in there? I thought it was just.
I mean, yeah, you certainly could be.
Okay.
He sent for everybody.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I misunderstood. I thought he only sent Arcturus and Ionia, and I was just screwing around in the forest.
You're busy stopping people who don't have a hunting permit. It's important. Taxes.
I know. I thought Arcturus would be just pleased with that. Like, oh.
All right, I guess I'm in there too.
Poachers. All right. So, we're home. Hopefully, we don't have any kingdom-threatening catastrophes on our hands for the next little while. It is of the utmost importance that we get this kingdom back onto the track of stability and growth and security. And Kato kind of trails off in that thought. My rebirth, as you might be wondering how it was that I survived my battle with Kalira. Sorry, were you going to say something?
It can wait.
Okay.
Your thing first.
Kato pulls open his robe and shows the group the place where Kalira's blade had penetrated his chest and pierced his heart. You see a gnarly yet fully healed and scar over his chest. As you can imagine, I should be dead. And in fact, I was dead. For all... Oh, shit. What is that quote? Esker,
Don't you
help me.
dare.
Esker,
No,
help me.
I won't. Not letting you perpetrate this evil.
I might Google to see if I can help with. I have no clue what you're talking about.
It was for all of a blink, I think.
For all of a blink.
Yeah.
I've been reborn. All right, I'm done. It's a stupid Star Wars thing. Like video game that.
Oh, I was
Anyway,
This is
what?
KOTOR
What are you
reference.
referencing?
it's kind of, yeah. All right, so.
It's been a hot minute since we've had a nice Star Wars reference in
Mhm.
our game.
Kato runs his hand down the scar. So yes, I was dead for all but a blink. but I was visited. I was visited by a being of extraordinary power.
Was that a question?
I feel like there aren't words to describe the sheer magnitude of the being I experienced, but yes, very powerful, and apparently I owed it. I now owe it a life debt. Cato pauses.
And how are you expected to repay that debt?
Interestingly, by living, by thriving, and by growing this kingdom. That is all that was asked.
In
This-
character, I would sense motive the hell out of you, but out of character, I know you're telling the truth, so I'm not going to waste the
Yeah,
time.
I was
but-
I was gonna say the same thing. That feels a little. Are you sure that's it? Because unless it was like Saren Ray, that seems like a strange deal for a powerful being to make.
It wasn't Sarenrae, and I'm as surprised as you are, but here we are.
As I recall, I pieced together last time with a knowledge religion that it would have been connected to the ritual. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's at least like a very reasonable conclusion.
Okay.
It's a good hypothesis.
Right. Something to do with the ritual in the tomb, I take it.
Yeah, you would be correct. It seems that what I viewed as a superficial act in order to progress our goal in Vorticai's tomb ended up bringing with it some lasting consequences. Though being brought back from the dead is certainly not one of the worst things that could happen. With that
No,
said,
certainly not.
I'm still me, despite my fiendish appearance, as he sort of, at this point, he's going to kind of grin, like an open teeth grin, so you can see the almost tiefling-like smile. Which is why I've called you all here. As I mentioned, the people here need stability, they need security. I see all of your new forms are quite spectacular. Certainly will draw, awe and inspiration from the citizens. I feel that mine might act in opposition to that goal, at least for the time. I feel like the king of this kingdom should be more relatable to the people that live here. I do not want to instill it, although I have not changed, at least not outside of physical characteristics at this time. I do not want to elicit any fear, any doubt, especially in this very turbulent time where we're coming off the end of a near apocalyptic situation, and now the first world seems to be rising up all around us. The citizens here have enough on their mind without worrying about whether their king has become some kind of demonic entity. As such, I would ask each of you a favor, although Artoris, what I ask might be difficult for you. I must say that I will have to insist that this direction be carried out explicitly to the letter in which it is given. First, as I cannot address the people myself at this time, I will ask each of you as a group, to formally address the citizens. Let them know that the threat of the Lich has been ended, that he is destroyed and will no longer bring any harm or destruction upon our people. 2, that the supernatural incident that seems to be overtaking this land is just that, a more or less harmless event that will hopefully pass, and that we will do everything we can to protect them from. And as for the status of their king, the official story will be that the king was wounded in battle, which is not a lie, but has survived and is in recovery and currently not seeing any visitors. I will rejoin the people once I have made a full recovery, but for now I am resting and treating and seeing to my wounds as such. The second part. So in addition to the address, Tommy, I don't know how. I guess it's safe to say that I know that like this type of magic would exist in the world, right? What I'm about to the next part.
Yeah, certainly.
Okay. In the meantime, this will buy us. This story will buy us time to acquire something that I think is needed to move forward. Cato walks over to his cabinet and pulls the crown off the shelf, walks over, and hands it to Arcturus. Yeah, Arcturus. I'm going to hand it to Arcturus. I require a means of magical disguise. Powerful magic that can allow me to appear as I was before I fell. To assume my more human features and my human form. What I would ask is that the three of you seek out this on my behalf, as I cannot do it myself. Have this crown enchanted with that capability.
So, just to be clear, you want Arcturus to enchant it?
No, I want you guys to. I'm just giving it to him because you can't. I don't know if you can see me right now. I'm like waving my hand. I don't want you to drop it.
I have legs. I have hands. I don't have eyes. Why is that so hard for you people to get?
I'm just giving it to. I'm giving it to you guys as a group, but I'm giving it to Arcturus for now. If he wants to give it to you, or you guys do whatever needs to be done to make this happen, make it happen. But ultimately, yes, that is what I see. So I will remain in seclusion until this is completed. At which point, you'll return the crown to me, and assuming the magic works, then I will be free to rejoin the population and address the people after my quote air quotes recovery from the battle.
So you want me to tell the people that you were wounded and that you're recovering from your injuries?
And again, you think Arcturus is the one to do this?
I'm talking to the group. I'm not talking just because I gave him the crown because I don't know, he was like the close. I don't know. Fine, give it to someone else. You're getting hung up on the minutiae.
I'm not like she's. But I'm rather serious. That's
Okay.
what you want me to tell people?
That is what I would want you all. That is the official line. The people need to know that the people need to know that the threat is ended. They need to be addressed sooner rather than later, and I cannot be the one to make that address currently. And if we wait,
what is concerning me, my lord, is that you don't seem to be. You want me to tell the people that you have been horribly wounded and that you're recovering, but you don't seem to realize just how true that is. And he kind of looks you up and down over what's been inflicted upon you, and he has just a little bit of I don't want to call it disgust, but definitely unease. I'll happily tell the people that, but I would prefer to do it in a way that you also realize just, I mean, surely you have to recover. Like, you need to do something about this. What do you intend? Do you have an evil entity watching over you? Who knows how it's affected your mind?
I can assure you, my mind is as much my own as it has ever been.
Maybe it would be a good idea to do like a regular check-in,
Check
like
out.
just make sure you're you and
I
you're not gonna
appreciate
murder us all in
I
our
app-
sleep.
I appreciate all of your concern, and I understand your hesitation and your, or not hesitation, your well, I guess concern. I'll say concern twice. I don't have a thesaurus on hand, but I can assure you, nothing has changed. In fact, if it weren't for the short-sightedness and superstitiousness and general, my understanding of how general populations tend to react to certain events, I wouldn't even be going through this process with you right now. However, I think we can all agree that stability is important right now, and this will definitely work towards that ends. As far as some sort of as far as the actual form, it does not seem to have hindered me in any way. In fact, like you guys, look a lot chunkier than I remember you. It definitely brings with it some benefits. With that said,
Wait, I'm sorry, chunkier?
like swoller,
Swole or chunky?
swole,
This is important.
definitely swole. I know, Ionia. I love how you're adding the little bit of comic relief here.
All I ask
That
is
is-
that you take the seclusion, the time that you have to yourself, to ensure that what you say is true.
Oh, I will spend the coming days in deep meditation. I can promise you that.
Well, I don't see any reason to lie about what's happened, and nothing that you have told me to do would be lying. I'm a little uneasy about the concept of illusory magic as a permanent fixture of our leader, but he kind of taps his mask, and like I do know the advantages and the appeal of.
I'll be honest, I think it's actually a really great idea, because I remember this one time when the citizens of Thornburg thought I was a dragon and they were horrified, and now I am a dragon, so that's a little more acceptable even than what Cato's going on, and we've already seen that they didn't respond well to that. So
All right, so we're all in agreement then. Get me my magic crown and go just
Get out of here, you scrubs!
All right, Cato will give each of you a nod and a kind of a tap on, kind of a pat on the shoulder, and be like, and he's just going to say before you all leave, I'm glad we all made it through one way or another. This past year has been the worst, but the fact that we're all still standing here together, ready to move forward into the next chapter.
well, most of us are.
All of us that matter are here.
Ouch.
And he kind of gives
That
you
was
all like
cold.
a group hug. Not really, like he's not, not a big hug, but he's just kind of like wrap his arms kind of around like a couple of your shoulders and just kind of give you like a light embrace, and then he's going to go back and sit next to Prince, who is sleeping, and then he's going to say, "Oh, one last thing.
Get me breakfast."
We're going to need to do something about this as well." And he gestures to Prince's, as he's just slumbering. He's snoring right now. He's just, his chest is, going up and down. He's like, and like steam's kind of shooting out of his nostrils on every exhale. But Kato gestures to the kind of the butchered eye socket after you guys rip the oculus out of his head. This will
Ionia
definitely,
would be glaring at you.
this will definitely need to be addressed as well. But first things first. Let's handle one thing at a time. I will have to I will be spending the next few days also nursing Prince back to health and hopefully helping him overcome the grief at the loss of his eye. So
Wow. It's fine. I'll just go, do your bidding, missing both of my eyes without taking time to recover. It's fine. I'll be fine.
I know you will.
I would like to. There are things that I could perceive or sense about Senya that are different, right?
Yeah, almost certainly. She, maybe not to the same extent as Ionia, and certainly the difference is less jarring as Ionia has gone from, I'm guessing, like 7 strength to 26 strength overnight. Kind of talk about 100% gains in the chat. There it is. There's 5,000% gains. But like, no, she's definitely.
I mean, you're not far off on the strength.
No, all of her ability scores at the very least went up by 4. Some of them went up by considerably more. She is leaner. She is taller. Her is constantly standing, like, ready to jump. Her eyes are. She seems to be taking more in than she would have before.
Okay, so Arcturus, as Kato goes back to his room, is that safe to say that that's happened?
We're in my room, but
I thought we left the room.
Okay, well, I didn't come out with you.
Okay. Well, assuming we've left the room, which I guess I'll just declare.
Wait, no, I still had. I had
more
a thing.
snarky stuff to say.
No, I had. Don't leave yet. So on the way over, I heard Bakken, and I'm pretty sure I heard Jubilost. Has anyone seen Dazia?
Oh, that was on my.
Or the chief?
I'm sorry, guys. There was something on my list here that I skipped over when I was supposed for part of the meeting. So there was a third matter.
Right,
Yes.
quick retcon.
Thank you. No. Thank you, Ionia, for bringing. Thank you, Ionia, for bringing it up. Yes, we need to locate Dazia, and we need to get started on getting Grinluke back on his feet. But we need Dazia for that. So
Who? Because we have a lot of friends. Again, has anyone seen or heard of the chief?
It's only been less than 24 hours since we returned. Less than 12.
Well, people have a way of dying when we're not actively keeping an eye on them. So I get concerned.
I mean, you're not wrong. Okay, well then,
Well,
I'm sure we can find them, and I'm sure I can track them down fairly quickly, quicker than I was able to before.
We also need to be sure we make accommodations for Zamanth, and I don't remember the name of our newest friend who brought us here.
She left.
She did. Nerissa left, yeah.
She teleported us here and then pieced.
Okay. But we should make sure Zamanth is taken care of. She was a great ally to us.
That is an excellent suggestion.
Yeah, see the cheese given proper lodging, and then we need to take a head count of all of the important NPCs and find Dazia. Finding Dazia is probably the most. I mean, they're all important. Making sure the chief's alive and making sure everyone's alive is great. But Dazia went missing scouting for us and stopped checking in after a certain point. So yeah, that's kind of a thing you guys should probably prioritize on while I'm just going to be sitting in my room.
Is there anything else you'd like us to do?
That's it. That was the other thing is find the NPCs and get mostly Dazia.
To bring in fresh linens.
Yeah, that'd be nice and some breakfast. Find one of those streetwalkers that you're so good at tracking down.
It really is a skill.
Okay. Are we done here?
Yes.
Very good.
It's
Okay.
good to have you back, Kato.
Good to be back. It's good to not be dead.
And now, as I leave, I look at Senya, and I give her an eye up and down. And what happened to you?
Senya kind of side eyes him and to give a glimpse of what she's capable of, she concentrates on her head, and a pair of antlers sprout.
Is that the?
Arcturus takes a half step back.
Did you just? Are you merged with the hat you're always wearing? How did this happen?
I'm still working out how, like, I'm still figuring out all the things that I can do, but the most wondrous thing has happened when I visited the forest. It was a dark and stormy night, but I was visited upon by the most magnificent stag, and I was given the gift to turn into an animal lord.
What exactly does that? Forgive me, I'm not familiar with Animal Lord.
Not familiar with the names of templates.
Well, it seems Erasto blessed me with a gift to turn myself into a stag, and everything comes with, and all of its abilities that come with Senya doesn't know, like, she's at a loss for words. She can't quite describe it. Perhaps I can show you.
Yeah. Wait. Yeah, never mind. It's fine. Yeah, let's do that.
So Senya focuses real hard, and instead of just shifting her, like shape-shifting her head to sprout some horns, she turns into an actual stag. And clop, she clops with her hoof. And she approaches Ionia because she knows Ionia can't see, and kind of nuzzles Ionia's hand.
Snoot.
She boops the snoot.
Through some combination of knowledge, religion, and detect evil, can I determine that this is not the same sort of, like, the same entity wouldn't be responsible for this as with Kato?
Yeah, almost certainly. You would
Okay.
assume it's more likely what's happened is not on the order of, like, somebody far overhead or from the outer planes, more so like primal spirits native to this realm have selected Senya to be the bridge between worlds, if you will.
Okay. Between, like, because of the first world stuff?
No, more like, I'm sorry, that was confusing given the rest of the shit happening in the game. More like between the natural world, or the world of, like,
I see what you're saying.
humanoids, and y'all's world.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I immediately made the same connection Esker did. I was like, oh, the plane melding or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I got you.
thought about the Fey template for a little while, but that has a pretty big strength neg on it, and I don't want to do that to the barbarian, even if you get DR and teleportation and wings and shit. In any case.
Okay. So Artoris is quietly sort of satisfied that the same entity, because he was a little suspicious just because there was the two of them that were part of the ritual. So he's quietly satisfied that at least half of the council isn't under the thumb of whatever has returned Cato to life.
What I might add is there, not to like immediately paint a red flag on Senia's forehead, that's not the goal, but these bridges between the two worlds, if one side, typically speaking, the side that Abadar would land on, steps too far into the natural world and nature responds, it's usually an animal lord leading that charge.
Gotcha.
Think of her as like almost as if she had the same kind of ranking as like a druid of her level kind of thing.
I mean, completely out of character, because Artoris would never think this, but I did give Abadar the chance to say, like, no Erastil, so this isn't my fault.
So, okay, so Kato's got nasty teeth. Senya's a stag. Artoris has wings. Do I look different?
I mean, you can probably feel it. It's like when you come back from the gym and you've had really big gains and like you feel heavier and your clothes are a little tighter, and then take that to 11.
I mean, you just turn your arcane eye around and look at yourself.
Yeah, but you know, it's more fun to ask people.
Is that Cato yelling from the other room?
Just still within earshot of the door.
No,
Even aware.
we came real to being able to do real like Ghost of Cato.
Yeah.
Shit, I should have given
That's
you the
true.
ghost template. I could have just made you Ghost of Cato. Fuck. No, that's way too OP.
Well, I actually went with I think the most like noticeable difference about me. I'm kind of going with more of like a Tsunade thing. So rather than being like super beefy, I'm going a little more lithe. So I've opted for like a dragon aspect kind of deal. So I've got horns and kind of wispy fog around me. Just so y'all are aware.
So you're asking us what you look like, and then out of character you describe what you look like, so you want us to repeat it back to you?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I just wanted the opportunity to describe my changes, guys.
I'm just
Rude.
teasing you. Yeah, so oh shoot, I was gonna say something. You totally took me out of it.
Senya kind of changes back and kind of quips, for all the changes that have happened to us, I'm still me. And she points at Artoris, like she kind of pokes her finger at his chest, and you're still you. And Ionia is still Ionia, and I'm sure that our king is still his old self.
You're sure?
I don't feel any different. Maybe a little bit faster and a little bit stronger, but I still believe what I believe. Nothing has changed that.
I think it's a little different though, because none of us died and were brought back by questionable means. I'm less concerned about Cato not being Cato, and I'm more concerned about the cost of regaining his life.
I'm just as suspicious about the circumstance behind all of this. Why would all three of us undergo transformations the day after Cato does?
I mean,
The GM didn't want to give one thing to one person.
I mean, Senya's already kind of described what happened to her. I was visited in a dream of sorts by an old family friend, and I think this kind of motioning at myself was maybe a reward for having, done this motioning at my eyes.
A reward.
I mean, I destroyed a very, very evil lich who has not only tormented Concordia, but all of Brevoy for years. So, yeah, a reward.
Okay.
Someday you're going to be proud of me, Artoris.
Yeah, because it was the biggest kill steal of all time.
You mentioned a thunderstorm, right, Senya? Same storm raged over the town last night.
It was quite a big storm. You should have seen it. Lightning and thunder everywhere and a downpour like I've never experienced one before. It was glorious.
Artoris is still thinking about the circumstance behind all of this, but he seems kind of certain that he's not going to get any closer to figuring out what happened. I guess there's no sense in dwelling on it for now, although I remain curious and wary.
Not feel that Abadar has rewarded you as well because of your close relationship and your part in protecting the civilization.
I haven't had the chance to ask him yet because I may or may not have put Arbiter on CD during a different time. But I certainly feel closer to him. That being said, I'm always suspicious, frankly, period, but certainly when so much fantastic happens all at once. For now, though, it seems appropriate to do the tasks that the king has laid out, and I'll hand the crown to Ionia. I trust that you're the right person to figure out how to make this change his appearance.
Yeah, it'll be easy, just like the hat that Amalia showed me months ago. A year? Months ago.
Time ago.
Time ago. Good.
I don't know why he didn't just whatever.
God damn it. In the meantime, I'll handle the address.
Senya, maybe find Ozia.
On it, and she runs out.
I appreciate her gusto.
I was a bit concerned that she might have been under the same influence that the king is.
Having also taken part in the ritual.
Right. But it would seem that instead there's some greater force that seems to be guiding a lot of events happening really quickly. In any event,
it's almost like there's some strange
nope.
entity looking
like
over all of us, granting us power.
Well, Abadar is with us.
Appear. You keep this shit up. He's coming. 2 Mordecais. Oh shit.
So I with that I depart. With the threat of Mordecai, I depart. And
I'll handle that too.
I guess I'll call the people together, and as to the best of my ability, have the guards prepare everyone for an address, which I should probably just give while I can remember what needs to be said. Good people of Concordia, this is your high priest, and I'm here to inform you that the threat of the Lich Mordecai that has plagued our kingdom for what feels like an eternity has been ended. He has been thoroughly destroyed and will no longer be an issue going forward. Unfortunately, the king was gravely wounded in the battle and will need time to recover. And as such, he will be out of the public eye for a while. In the meantime, I am, of course, available, and as is Abadar, as we have surely relied on his guidance and ability to reach this point and overcome the trials and tribulations. That being said, I also want to spend a moment to think on the fallen. Certainly, there have been many dear to me that are no longer here today, and I know that is true for many of you as well. Much was lost on the day that the undead attacked the city, and but there is a hope for the future at last, and it is a future that together we will build, and I hope to be a part of with all of you. And with that, Artoris is done talking with them.
Okay, so like
I think I hit everything.
As soon as you quit talking, basically, the assembled crowd it looks very different than what you had here before you left. Several, dare I say, fairy tale creatures also have made their way to the meeting. Some of them, like, side by side, seemingly like in friendship with the population. Some of them just kind of aimlessly buzzing around the top. As you turn, a human man in his like mid-40s just, well, what are you planning on doing about all these vines growing through our homes, through our walls? What are you planning on doing about all these damned fae? As if on cue, a bunch of damned fae begin like dancing around him and like pick him up, not like with harm intent, more to just like crowd surf him a little bit. Nevertheless, he starts freaking the fuck out, and everybody begins throwing those same like town hall questions at you, humanoid and fae alike.
Right. Rest assured, these matters have been brought to the attention of the council, and we are working on resolutions that will be to the benefit of everybody. It's my best politician impression.
Fair. And you turn, they continue their ham and mayonnaising all over the place. This group gets that reference. That wasn't weird. As you turn, you almost like bump smack into Jubilush. What happened? Kato, he's not horribly eviscerated, maimed, wounded?
No.
Also, what's up with the wings, though?
I truthfully don't know. But to answer your question, no. He is alive, but he is recovering from his injuries.
Is he receiving visitors? Where's everyone else? Where's Yodia and Tenia and you, the big one? You know the one. Did she? And he kind of like trails off. Perlavash eventually comes to like circle over his head. There's about 7 fairy dragons in V formation behind him. It gets real crowded real fast.
Artorias like looks up at them and then looks down again at Jubilost. The Senya has gone to look for Dazia, who, as I understand it, has not returned yet. Is that correct?
Indeed. No word at all.
And Ionia has had a task from the king herself that she has turned her attention to. I'm not sure where she probably went to the workshop. What? Why are you saying workshop to me? Do you have a workshop?
Yeah, we talked about this. We have a workshop, don't we?
I don't. I mean, I don't think we have a workshop.
I mean,
I thought we had a workshop.
Take a room, do work in it.
Yeah, it's a workshop. Yeah, that's true.
Crafting for long enough. I'm sure I have
That's true.
a place
Okay,
where
fine.
I craft things.
She's probably in her workshop.
She's over at the crafting table.
Yes. But that That being said, surprisingly, I am happy to see you doing so well, Jubilost.
And you as well, my friend. We should probably have some form of formal meeting at some. Things have changed, is what I'm trying to say, and there's not all of the people who live here. I can speak for myself, Gnome. And Megaris Varn just turns the corner around from a building, stops, makes a big ol' formal bow, his eyes never leaving yours, Artoris. Jubilost, insta excuses himself. The wave of fairy dragons follow. I take it your hunt was successful then?
It was. And I am sorry to report, and I pull out the spell book from the Fallen Hell Knight, that your court wizard was amongst the undead.
I see. And presently he is
Destroyed.
Then he should rest with his brothers and sisters.
I hand the spellbook back to him.
He takes it. Kind of flips through it real quick. None of it seems to resonate with him. He's just kind of nostalgizing real quick. Sifil and I, we grew up together. It is sad that he is gone, but better that he does not have to live to see these days.
I know what you mean.
Do you?
I look around. I think I do.
No, you can see it looking in his eyes. You have instantly struck a nerve as you say this, and he's biting the hell out of his tongue. You have pranksters, ne'er-do-wells, and other various fairy tale creatures. I had a Jabberwock spawn in my keep.
I was not aware that was... We had heard it from where we were at and seen the influence it had on the area, but I did not think that it came from that direction. I'm sorry. What's happened?
Do you want the long version or the short version?
Whatever you would prefer.
Fair. Okay. So, I am unaware of the timeline as it exactly relates to your spelunking. The Kelids and their forces. He raises his left hand and spreads his fingers out real wide, raises his right. The Sword Lords and their militia, and then meshes them together. They met at the trading post. My forces were asked to provide assistance to, well, savagery must be quelled in the home and the heart, and so we did. The battle went as it went, then that thing appeared. Drove the Sword Lords back to Restov, presumably drove the Tiger Lords back to whatever hole they've crawled out of. Everyone in my citadel, within my town, gone. The beast lairs in the fruit of my... People start to stare. This is happening in big public. Forgive me.
It's quite all right. I'm truly sorry to hear that, and on a personal level, devastated to hear that.
Some of my men and myself were able to escape. My arcanists are no more. I lack the ability to conveniently return to Corvosa. And between the monsters to the east, monsters to the west, monsters all around us, honestly, I think I'm better use here. Even if I'm just hunting down satyrs and sprites, and he pinches the bridge of his nose. He draws a little bit of blood, seeming to forget his nails end kind of sharp. Such is life. Here we are. I had meant to tell... wants to carry us this in person, but if he is unwell, we could wait for another day. That said,
Well, I, of course, would have no objection to your remaining here. Your counsel and assistance would be most welcome. I could inform the king at the next available opportunity of what has transpired. But truly, I am sorry to hear what you've been through. It certainly puts some perspective on our situation.
they
You
will
know-
be judged and remade. They died as they lived.
Do you know what became of the creature?
He shakes his head now.
Hmm.
Given what the gnomes, he air quotes really hard, outriders have reported. I believe it's nesting in my former citadel. He
That
shrugs.
is an affront. Hopefully we can right some wrongs at some point.
He nods. He, as you say that, he reaches down to, like, where before there was a mace hanging at his hip now is, well, not on his hip, hanging on his back. It have to because it's so big. He begins to, like, subconsciously drum on the hilt of a bastard sword. Oh no. We will have vengeance. I will take my vengeance out of the hide of that wretched, and a lot of rude words and infernal about Jabberwocks. But today, if I can be of service to the Court of Concordia, I would be more than happy to do so.
Well, speaking for myself, you'll have one vote to request such service. How many of your men made it here with you? Do you need a place to stay, lodgings?
5. Your goblin has seen to that already.
Very, very good. Is there anything that I can do more immediately for you?
He shakes his head now. Knowledge that... No, nothing. Just let your lord know I would have words with him.
Of course.
And he does that big formal bow again and then turns, and as he turns, the scabbard in which his bastard sword rests is, like, if you didn't know better, you would think he had, like, washed it in blood. That's how, like, dark red stained the leather is. It's probably just, like, gilded, but this, like, seemingly golden hilt that hangs up in very stark contrast to the big black matte armor that they wear. A single ruby embedded in the hilt. It seems to, like, catch the sun as he turns. As it does so, the ruby is cut in such a way that the light refracts in 6 different directions.
What kind of check would it be to determine maybe what that is or what its purpose is?
You call it a religion check.
Why you int-based knowledge religion? Oh, okay. I'll take it.
Proceeds to roll real good. Yeah, no, it's ludicrously clear to you. You assume the man's soul is still going straight to hell upon his death, and, like, all of the oaths and contracts he has written to Asmodeus, the archdevils, the infernal dukes, and so on and so forth have damned that guy. But it's very clear that recent events have caused Megarisvarn to seek vengeance above all else, and he has begun to stylize himself in trappings of a paladin of Regathiel, the imperial lord, born of an archdevil and imperial lord, or archdevil and elemental lord rather, whose whole shtick is just righteous and brutal and swift and merciless vengeance. after years and years and years and years and years of this celestial being rising up from the lower pits of hell, wrestling Protean lords in the Eye of Abendigo for like thousands of years on end, the slaying of many demons, devils, and other things. Oh my. Eventually, after all of that, Regathiel was accepted into the Mountain of Heaven to serve literally as the general of Heaven's armies. He is the... Folks ask for Regathiel's guidance when they're done with being nice and want something that deserves it to die right now, basically.
Out of character, I love Regathiel.
I love Regathiel.
Out of character, I also
Right.
love Regathiel.
Yeah. Well, that's freaking awesome. I think to myself, and Artoris probably briefly considers to think, but then doesn't. Yeah, so... Well, with that, I suppose I should... well, unless anyone else wants to... I've had the center stage for a while. Maybe
This is
Senya.
where- Sure. Okay, so Senya, you go sprinting through the town. It's really easy for you to track almost anyone. Like, you turn the corner and you smell like what smells like alcohol, sulfur, and whatever he had for breakfast. Like, Bakken was here at some point. Turn another corner, it smells like... What would Jubiloss smell like? Cheap perfume, hair gel, and moon radishes. There it is, indicating certainly Jubiloss supposed to come here at some point. The various like aromas, first world permeating everything as well, but there's no sign of her anywhere in town. To find her, you would probably be looking at a like leave the settlement and jaunt into the wilds kind of thing. Her people remain. They seem to be... whether or not they're getting along with harmonic convergence, it's about as the same of a cut as it is the rest of the humanoids. In some cases, it seems like... I wouldn't say like a blessing sort of thing in the eyes of some Uruxi, but they're obviously here for it. They show like deference and reverence to these creatures in some cases, like an Uruxi with a little too big stylized like a dueling sword, but more like a great sword on his back, turns the corner and you see this even smaller... What's smaller than a sprite? About the size of like a human thumb, a little Atomi, pops up, pulls a bow, which is essentially just a rubber band that will shoot a paperclip at somebody. I challenge you! And then sword swings, it runs up the sword, boops the snoot, runs up the Uruxi, down its like spines, down its spine, and then flies off. It hisses a curse in its native tongue and turns off another direction. But no Dazia.
Can I guess my first stop would be like maybe... Well, remind me, we told Dazia where she should like focus her tracking, right? Before we left.
Yes, I need a reminder, but
Yeah, that's where it was.
I want to say it was where the ping was. That was it.
Okay. So I would think that before I set out there, I just want to confirm with her people that she hasn't been back. So I'm gonna ask her people, like those who know her, like if she's been back at all.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. Most of the Uruxi assembled just kind of shake their heads. You can tell that they're not saying everything as you go to like ask them questions and stuff, not like being intentionally evasive, but it seems to be like universally there's something weighing on all of them. In general, you're just no, I'm sorry, my lady. I have not seen her.
Hmm. So I think my next course of action would be to track her down to the last place we've her last known location and see if I can pick up a trail there.
Okay. So that would take, even for you as the stag flies, quite a while to get from here to there. Certainly you can do it, but it would be a lot of like in-game days pass, and I don't know if you guys don't want to like also explore that direction while going that way. Only reason I bring it up before Cinia goes sprinting off.
Well, what do you want to do, team? Does anybody want to come with me?
I still have a lot of stuff I need to get done in town.
I have crafting to do for Kato's helm, but I can technically come with you and do it on the road. It's just a little slower.
Oh,
I mean, we have.
I think I can. I think I can go up on my own and see if I can find her,
Okay. Sounds good to me.
or at least pick up a trail, or get a clue.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a survival check.
Maybe take some of the Uruxi with you or something.
Mm. That's actually not a bad idea.
Juby's good at scouting too.
Trying to get this like scale perfect now that I know how to do it, and it's super bothering me. Okay, so you head out. You do. Yeah, there we go. Fuck yeah, got it. Okay, cool. So leaving Rusin, you do find pretty fresh Uruxi tracks that cut this direction. It's really hard to. No, I keep forgetting. Y'all have superpowers now. They smell similar to what you imagine the like spell components somebody like Dazia would carry would smell like. Various like incense and herbs and oils and things. It's not perfect, but it's a start. The tracks are at this point a couple days old, maybe closer to like 2 or 3.
Okay. Seems like a good lead. I'm gonna follow those tracks.
Alrighty. That would put you gone. You are now very fast. They track on down the hexes, through the gnarl marshes. Actually, no, JK. They a little more like.
Are they the only tracks, or like is that the only thing that I can sense?
That is a good question. They kind of cut along this way. As they go, you see they are joined by like I forget, I don't have to ask to roll. You guys are really good at stuff. Tracks of like large dogs or perhaps wolves, bigger cats. In some cases, tracks that look very similar to her own, but much, much bigger. Something along the lines of perhaps like a dinosaur. As if she is like calling nature to her.
Is there a sense of do I get the sense that like the tracks are willing, or if there's like a I'm trying to like do I get the sense that she is like do I get the sense that the tracks are a willing voluntary, or if there's like if there's like some sort of like struggle or like a captive there?
Seems to be pretty voluntary.
Okay. So I'm gonna keep following.
Okay. So then at this point, the clock passes forward. What's the crafting time on what Kato needs, really quickly?
Give me a couple minutes and I'll do a quick calculation.
Because we might land it on. It passes a serendipitous amount of time to grab that thing.
It should be about 1 week.
Could I a week? That should be enough time for what I want to do then too.
Okay, cool. So then, gone for about a week. You are.
Yeah, 6 days.
Nature investigates you, but again, doesn't do anything to like harm you. It knows what it's looking at. So you turn the corner and like, here is a. I'm running out of sweet, scary animals to throw at people. You turn the corner and like look up, and you realize you're in the shadow of a rock, and it just like buzzes overhead for a little while, caws out real loud, and then dives. Damn it, Sven. Off another direction. You see it take off with something on the order of like an aurochs, like a wild cow. Eventually, you get the tracks up to right about here. At which point, you come upon the scene of a battle.
Is it a battle that passed or it's still going?
Yeah, it's seems to have been. It's recent. Maybe like last night, maybe yesterday, sometime around your fight with Vorticai. There's dead big animals and tiger lords everywhere. In several cases, like trees have been pulled down, presumably by like a mastodon or something big with a tail that could just whoosh, and then down comes the tree to crush this big Kelid underneath it. In a couple cases, you find like a dire wolf that has just like shot full of arrows and javelins and big open slash wounds. No Dazia though.
Well, that's troubling. Is there anything I can do to kind of survey the battlefield to get a clue?
Yeah, give me another survival or a knowledge nature would be good. So you do find tracks leaving. You don't find any animal tracks leaving. You presume they were... The bodies you're not seeing here are bodies that were taken as meat, whole enough to be strapped on the back of some kind of pack animal the Tiger Lords would have brought to then take home and skin for meat and parts and things. You don't see Dazia's tracks either, but you can follow them up to where like they stop, surrounded by a bunch of like heavily booted humanoid footprints. Easy conclusion is that Dazia came here. Dazia asked the nature to help her, presumably to fight these Tiger Lords, and then she lost. This almost certainly means she's been taken by the Tiger Lords, or at the very least, there's not a body here.
So I'm going to safely assume if like her body's not here, then she's been taken.
Mm-hmm.
So there's still hope.
Because there would be like, to further that out, had she like wild shaped out or any kind of transmutation to escape, there would be that like half step where like here's a big ol' Uruxi footprint, here's a Babby Bird footprint, and here's like in between the metamorphosis, right?
Right. Can I follow the tracks for whoever she encountered? Like, are they leading somewhere else?
Yeah, they seem to like skirt the forest, probably because they're afraid of what's in it at this point, and then take off. You follow them to about here, and then they cut back, presumably back into Tiger Lord's territory.
Well, it seems like seems like they've gone back to their territory, so I don't think that I don't know if at this point it makes sense for me to continue to follow these tracks, especially knowing that where they lead. So I'm gonna head back to report back my findings.
Okay, sounds good. Next up, meanwhile, in the workshop, now it's hard to not imagine Ionia as like a 40-something suburban dad whose garage has a bunch of tools in it, and that's what he does on Saturday. It's just like, I gotta go work on my bike in my workshop, just to like mask how the rest of his life has gone downhill in midlife crisis.
Kids.
What?
Just got to get away from all these damn kids.
Move. I gotta get away from all these damn fae. You were saying?
So if we're actually like doing a thing here, my understanding of how crafting works is that part of the cost is that you actually need like whatever material components go into the spell for the magical effect, whatever. For this particular one, I need to visit Kato.
Oh, cool.
I will go do that.
He's not allowed to participate this session. What are you doing?
He's dead, remember? You find one masterwork broken body of Kato.
That
I love masterwork though. It would be. So I guess I'll go back to, because I'm probably what happened is I went back to the workshop, did a little research, and then was like, oh shit. Go back to where I had last seen Kato.
Yep, sure, makes sense.
Knock on the door.
Who's there? Who disturbs my slumber?
Just me. You maybe want to be a little less edgy, and I'll come in.
Sure, come on in.
That's better. So
See you.
So I've been looking into this whole crown situation, and here's the thing. This is gonna sound weird, but I need a piece of you, but probably like from before you changed. So do you have something like that?
I mean, I've got a lot of blood on my clothing from when Kalira almost cleaved me in half.
Maybe like some hair?
Oh, I mean, she took a chunk out of my chest. I'm sure there's fleshy bits stuck to that blood. He walks over to the tunic he was wearing under his armor during the fight, and where the slash is and where it literally cleats his chest open. It's basically just a dried bunch of like gore and like chunks of bone and flesh and all the stuff that would have been removed from his body before he was healed up magically. Here you go. And he throws her the tunic.
I will do my best to catch that. And then hold it out by like just the tip of my forefinger and thumb. Thanks, pal. Give me about a week, and we'll have you look like yourself again.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
We'll go back to the workshop and start crafting. And I don't really know how to RP that. I can try if you really want me to.
Oh yeah, no.
You got an hour and 20 minutes to make it happen. Let's do it.
Oh, wow.
Boom!
Okay.
No, you turn, you come back in, you get to the workshop. Jubilos is sitting on the workbench, his hands like fingers folded behind his head, just kind of like spinning his left foot. Well,
Well, indeed. I'm so glad you're okay.
He tries
I'll
to
give him a hug.
feign this like, you've been home so long, haven't spoken, and it just melts really fast, and he just like hops up, runs forward, jumps into, I assume, your small creature, large, just medium creature, do the hug, ends up just, I guess, like hugging a kitten, wah, kind of thing. I don't know. What's your eyes?
Yeah, they're gone.
You seem marvelously. Look, my dear, I understand trauma responses as well as the next person who's concerned about getting the bleaching, but You seem to be taking this very well, given the fact that you've lost one of your senses, you see.
Yeah, well, it's probably gonna hit me in like a week or so, and then I'm probably just gonna get dreadfully depressed. But for now, I'm just seeing with magic, so it's not, that different, kind of. I don't blink anymore, so that's kind of strange.
Do you think you should perhaps... I suppose it's rather rude of me to say, but like, cover it up? Or
I didn't think about that. You're probably right.
it's a little
Yeah.
awkward. You see, it
Does it? Be honest with me. Does it look really bad?
looks really bad. Now, mind you, the rest of you look... Rumor is spreading throughout the town that all of you have been touched by the gods themselves. I must say... And then he kind of like leans over a little, gets eye of the katana and a new weapon and a new physique, and it is as if... Then he spreads his arms real wide. The Empress of Heaven herself descends from on high to do what though? Certainly the last very strong woman within this region that I encountered. I was more concerned she'd throw me in the river. You, however, I like this much better. Much, very good. And he like waves his hands real broad through all of this. He seems to have forgotten to clap and then like goes to like clap and then doesn't quite complete the motion because he's still waving his hands.
That was a lot, but I think I'm flattered, though.
Oh, yes, indeed, the most flattered.
But yeah, you're right. I should probably do something about my face.
Something like, yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So, with these new changes are... And he kind of, like, trails off. I'm just saying there's a hole in the government. Are you, perhaps... simply a minister? A local craftsperson? Or should we expect something more?
I don't think I follow.
I just... You look so damn powerful! And with all of the fighting and all of the warring and... as if on cue, Perlavash and a small army of fairy dragons come flying, and they land in like a perfect cavalry wedge with Perlavash at the front. Jubilos starts like subconsciously scratching under his chin. And he points his finger at you, cast message. We can't say it out loud, it scares the rest of the Fae. Don't say Jabberwock. With the J word flying around, and even then the fairy dragons all kind of like skitter and scatter. And there's talk among the citizenry of... Well, we need a formal army. We need someone strong at its head. We need to recruit. We need to be prepared for if our friends to the north who have decided to disown our good and noble king, or our friends to the west who would probably put all of our heads on pikes, take all of our stuff, take it back to Numeria, and sell it for adamantine? I don't know, to say nothing of the Mr. Big J. I'm a little concerned for the safety of the region, and so too the citizenry. You seem much more fit to crush our enemies and see them driven before us. There's a Perlavash kind of looks up and a little bit. Perlavash also has been, well, he has a whole flight of his kind now. They seem...
See that it suits him.
Yes, indeed. They seem to... He spins his fingers in like orbit around each other. The bond he and I share in their eyes makes him seem like a... I don't want to say alpha fae, the toxicity. But you understand, yes? He has
Always been exceptional.
been responsible for... Well, there's a point in time where you were gone, and the whole thing with a leprechaun, and getting into the stores of ale at Oleg's one night, and Perlavash has been quite responsible for rounding all of them up. I dare say if... And Perlavash kind of like moves forward, he illusions over himself an image of just himself, but about 4 times the size, covered in like resplendent plate mail bearing Concordia's coat of arms. The little one would like to know if there's an opening for General.
Oh my god, I just burst out laughing.
General?
He's
I love
fast. He's possessed of magic. The people love him. His people love him. Don't tell Balkan we're talking about this. He's not had a good time of it at all. We won't talk about that. That poor goblin son of a bitch. But he wanted me to tell you he's, even after this has been said, Perlavash is, his face is a much brighter shade of purple, his equivalent of blushing. He tries to illusion a normal calm face over himself, but cannot. He wanted me to ask you.
Well, as you've stated, we do have a hole in our government, and I've always been quite fond of Parlavash. I'd certainly put in a good word for him with the others.
You see, little one, I told you it would be fine. There's no need to be nervous. And he just kind of like dips out. The rest of his flight follow.
It may be worth mentioning to him. I can't make any promises. I'm just, one of the people who votes on these things.
No, I'm quite sure as soon as Cato gets word of this, he'll... Oh, what is the expression? Shit 10,000 bricks? Indeed.
The results speak for themselves, right?
He nods. Suppose I also wouldn't mind the position as... Well, I don't know. Lots of folks are talking about it. Certainly our knight in dark and gloomy armor. Oh, wait, you don't. You've been here. The Hell Knights are almost all dead. Megaris lives with us now, along with his friends.
Oh.
I believe
That...
he's been campaigning for generalship as well.
Well, that is a rare treat indeed.
I know,
isn't it?
It's so wonderful and splendid to watch this.
Just could not be happier. Can you tell how happy I am?
Jubilos snaps his fingers and makes an image of Megaris, like in caricature, over his face. Very, like, stretched and dour and sour looking. Just, my name is Megaris Bard. I don't know how to have any fun. I think I should just murder people who have different opinions. I like to get paid to kill things. I love devils. And then disappears.
Oh my god, Tommy, you have to do caricatures more often.
That was pretty on point from what I hear. I've never met him myself, but
it's... I suppose technically speaking, he's the most qualified for it, but I don't know, it's just so damn different. I suppose everything is now, though.
Well, while you're here, you wanna help me? Can you hold this?
Whatever it is, he takes it.
It's
as long
the
as...
crown.
That he puts it on his head. Illusions a caricature of Cato over his head. Cato as, because he doesn't know, right? Cato as just a human. Don't call it fop style. No, it's very serious business, and we are good and noble swordsmen, and like drills on about like this for Cato Sicarius, son of Saul Sicarius, look at me, and like as Jubilos goes to pantomime the forms, his swordplay has improved as well, so it's not really pantomiming so much as like exaggerated practice kind of thing. To then resolve formal bow, it goes away.
That was spot on. That one I can speak to from personal experience. Couldn't be closer.
Where even is he? I assumed he'd want to address the people himself instead of sending his court.
He
Should I just call him an
uh
inevitable? I don't know.
I don't know what any of us are anymore. Kato was badly injured, and I don't think he's quite ready to face the public yet. I think he would like some time to recover.
Oh, stabbed in the manhood, was it?
Something like that. You know how his ego is.
He's fine though.
So if you could just hold that there, and then I'll start kind of working on it. I did mean to ask you, with our return, I've noticed that we've got some new friends, and I thought it might be helpful to have at least one of us be able to communicate with them. And seeing as how I think I'm the least aggressive towards, fey creatures in general.
I'm gonna eat them.
Do you have any recommendations? I already know Sylvan. Are there any other languages you think might be beneficial to learn?
Oh, Sylvan should be more than fine. If anything, most of them can speak a rudimentary form of common anyway, and if not, they're picking it up. Our new neighbors are doing their best to acclimate as well. They didn't ask for this, and okay, so the first world. He holds up his hand and holds up his other hand. He is us. He is the material plane. He is the cycle of souls. He is the first world cut off from it. So they're not used to consequences for actions, I suppose. It's a constant string of reincarnation, evermore. You literally can't die, and now they're in a very different environment.
Well, they do well to stay away from Artoris. He's a little short with them. I think they're great. They're hilarious, really.
I know, and what I'm trying to get at is it's very new and different for them as well, but they lack the ability to go home. I think most of them would if they could. We're all just trying to adjust. Better news, if we're attacked by an army of ravenous undead, unless they pack cold iron weaponry, they'll have a problem piercing the flesh of citizens who will die to protect the flag. Silver lining, I guess.
Well, there's that.
Just don't tell the nobles from Rostov who use this place as a summer home that they might have to timeshare with leprechauns.
Well, yeah, I mean, I tend on the side of, while they're here, I'd like to see them be treated as guests and made comfortable, though I don't know that many of our peers will agree with that, so I might need some help in convincing them.
He nods. I suppose we'll need to have a meeting of the council at some point. What council remains,
Does seem to have diminished. But we believe we found what had captured Grinluke's soul, and so if we're able to find Dazia, we may be able to bring him back.
Splendid. Another outstanding candidate for generalship of our burgeoning military force, the one with military experience. Why, yes, very good. Military experience, not get paid coin to hunt random spellcasters. He kind of trails off. So I found those the tablets. I imagine it's hard to put a. I imagine the situation is a little awkward and perhaps painful for you, but the relics recovered from our one-eyed friend. Quite a find, really.
Yeah, it really is. I had been considering motioning to the others to open a museum, though a painful part of my personal history. It is an important part of Concordia's.
Not an important part of all of northeastern Avestan, truly. This is, well, most folks thought this all lost, and now you've dug out a very key and integral part of the ancient Cyclops empires that span the region.
With something like this in our possession, we may be able to attract more scholarly citizens, which would be really nice.
No, almost certainly. They come, they see the museum, they see, oh, look, fancy treasures and things. They hopefully have an okay disposition for our Sylvan friends. They see how beautiful the Nile marches are in spring, and then you get the tax money from them, and, well, one hand washes the other.
It would be nice to have some sort of formal education for our citizens. Farmers are great, but we need a little more diversity than that.
Indeed, it would be nice to be able to have some kind of scholarly discussion with what I have. I have Bakken. I could try Arcturus, but then he snaps his fingers. A really, really shoddily made mask illusions up over his face. Do not lie about killing dragons, because that's shitty and it won't look good in the eyes of Abadar or anyone else. Don't do that. That was rude. La la la. And then it goes away. Comes back up. Oh no, I also like guns now. Haha. And then poop back down again.
Now I've got to see Senya.
Okay. He stops, thinks about it. Snaps his fingers, an image of her face, but a little her nose is elongated out like a deer's muzzle. She's got a bunch of horns all over the place. I am the queen of the forest, and I am the last of my kind, and I have chosen a title that is very similar to a bandit that once ruled the region. Almost certainly no one will confuse that and show up here in arms. And then it fades away.
Very good. Very good.
Anyway, I should go. I've taken enough of your time. You obviously have a big project. He kind of starts to not sure if should hug, handshake, bow, finger guns, and then takes off out the door.
Oh, bye, Juby.
Goodbye. Had to get
you're
that last
precious.
clap in.
That was great.
Senya's was hard. I'm like, how do I drag Senya? God, shit. Anyway, I think Arcturus had some stuff to do. Really interfering.
Yeah.
Before I
just
get
wanna-
lost in Jubilos forever. Good.
Before he jumps in, I just want to compliment. I actually visualized the gun, the goodbye with the guns, I was just, oh my god, I just lost it.
I feel like
So-
that's pretty much 2020 though. Do I hug you? Do we shake hands? Do we bump out with finger guns? That's the one.
What is social distancing protocol in the city of Concordia? I don't know. I'm going. Ha. Phew.
So basically, right after my conversation with Megaris, I would have gone back to the temple and retrieved something that I would have turned invisible again. And then I would make my way to Bakken's lab, hoping to find him there.
Yes, you make your way to Bakken's. The sound of an explosion, a bunch of fairy dragons go flying out. I swear to whatever God's pantheon or they're in has caused all this calamity, blessed everyone, but apparently the person who made sure they didn't all kill each other a year and change ago, I will... Oh, hi, priest.
Bakken, how are you today?
Splendid. How are you?
Fantastic. It's good to see you.
You know, I thought your code of ethics said you couldn't lie. You seem frustrated. Come quickly. And he turns, like, without any further waiting, walks back into his shop.
I make my way in and shut the door. Yes, it's been a trying time, I will admit, but relative to the future that we were staring down with the Lich Sill about, it seems hard to complain, at least outwardly.
Reasonable.
But truly, how have you been? I know you've been with us for quite a while now and have seen a lot.
Work remains busy. The people of this town no longer crave holy water. They now crave various herbal remedies their grandma's mother's aunt's cousin on their second side 15 times removed say will ward off spirits and salt and all the other various. You'd make a killing on cold iron if you started selling just cold iron kitchenware. It'd be enough to drive away most of the little ones. Other than that, it could be worse. I suppose I should ask, we're very sure the one-eyed bastard is gone, yes?
Quite. Ionia saw to that herself. At some great personal cost, but definitely he is no more. And on that note, I can also say the other one-eyed villain, Kalira, has also been killed.
Unfortunate. Necessary, I suppose, but...
Yes, it... truthfully, with how long you've been with us, perhaps only you could understand the bond that once did exist. As strained as it nevertheless was there. She played a very important part in the foundation of what we have here today.
Yeah. I believe you'd be dead if not for her, too, am I right?
Yes, on at least one occasion, very explicitly, if not a few more by implication. But I'm afraid I come with a request, and he's probably doing a pretty hard job masking the fact that he's carrying something invisible, though it may be. And he places it on the table and ends the spell. And it is the severed head of a cyclops.
Well, I didn't know you felt that way about me, Artoris. Of course, we can set up the arrangements at your temple immediately.
God damn it. Out of character, I'm very amused. In character, Artoris just kind of stares at him blankly. Not quite. I have a use for this. And I believe you might be able to help me for the first step. Essentially, I need this, and he kind of waves his hand over the eye socket and like the tissue around the eye, and then he reaches up and takes off the mask that he's wearing. I need this to fit. I need this treated to shrink it down and perhaps tanned in a way that the eye will roughly match the size of the mask. Do you think that would be possible?
He nods. Should be easy enough. I remarkably well preserved this. Then he, like, pokes at the side of it a little too hard. The frustration of fighting armies of these pushing through into the remains. Any particular reason why, or are we... I didn't know Abadar had to crush your enemies, see them driven before you, remove their heads, wear their heads on your head as a headdress motif.
Oh.
Are we Tiger Lords now?
No.
Alright, cool.
In fact, I would never ask anybody to lie, but if I could trust in your discretion in this task, it would be appreciated.
He nods.
The rest of the council doesn't know about this, nor do I see a particular reason for them to know about it. Yes, certainly not a usual tenet of Abadar, but I don't believe runs foul of anything that he wishes for us. So with that in mind, your service would be greatly appreciated, and I'd be happy to compensate you for the time and materials required.
He
But
nods.
at your earliest convenience, do you have any idea how long such a task might take?
Oh, the exact crafting time of the item, I suppose. However long that happens to be, I'm not sure off the top of my head, but an appropriate amount of time, I'm sure it'll be ready before the next bear is poked and comes chasing after the Concordian people. A few days at most should be fine.
Okay, that sounds good. And then I'll finish the process on my end. Thank you, Bakken. I know we so rarely get these one-on-ones, but I must say I've been feeling a bit nostalgic lately with Kalira's passing, and truly, it is good to see you.
He nods. You look more machine than man these days, but he leans back under the counter and withdraws like a half-empty bottle of an old vintage of wine, slams it on the table. Eh?
Oh.
These
Sure.
doors are closed. No one's gonna know. It's fine. We can keep the taxmaster facade out there. In here, your people too. High priest, maybe. Wings aside, I guess I don't technically know what you are. What I do know is all of you have been carrying a burden on your backs for a very long time. We do what we can to help you. That doesn't mean that the burden doesn't hit you first.
I'll admit this. Whatever has happened to me, I'm still coming to terms with it. I'm trying to understand it, and it has sort of fit rather unfortunately with how I had been feeling beforehand. I'm trying to connect with my history and my humanity to an extent. So, sure, I will. I'll take you up on it.
And he, with no further waiting, pours both of you a glass, sits down like probably about on the table to be eye level with you. It's a little on the awkward side, but he'd be fine. Well, I have you. Something we should probably discuss. I was going to wait until the next meeting of the minds, but who knows when that's going to be. Regarding the tiefling. And I think Parlavash has been running around putting on airs like he's some damn conquering general with a peerless army of cavalry. Oh, the various Restovic sword lords are up in arms as well. With everything that's going on, I'm sure it is not missed upon you that we are building, yes, a bastion of hope and civilization in these lands where folks can live and be safe. We are also building a overripe peach to be plucked by our neighbors. Power balance changes in Brevoy, and down they come sweeping over the hills. The Tiger Lords, I'm given to understand they've retreated to Numeria to lick their wounds after the Jabberwock. And he says Jabberwock. You hear from outside a couple of like little tiny, more sentient than they appear at first glance, like foxes with butterfly wings that had been invisible, their ears pressed up to the glass of the window, break invisibility and fly off, cackling as foxes do. That's all you gotta do. Say Jabberwock once. They will fucking head for the hills. But also there's
I'll keep that in mind.
Tiger Lords coming at us to take everything, and everyone else in between. We're a pretty prize. And you and Sicarius and the rest of you, you're obviously one-person armies, but you can't be everywhere at once, and you can't fight 10,000 people at once. A formal army seems to be something we can no longer avoid, and basically everyone who's everyone would like the position of general.
Yes, when we lost Kalira, we did lose sight of that objective to some extent. That was one of her big ideas, and she championed that cause quite loudly and readily. Yeah, I'll raise the matter to the king. Of course, it's up to him as to who might ultimately fill that role, but out of curiosity, do you have any particular persuasion as far as who would be ideal?
I'm sure you need someone who's quick on their wit, quick on their feet, somebody who's presuming we're going to adopt the Fae under our big ol' umbrella, somebody who won't put up with their bullshit or the bullshit of some noble lordling who's come down to the Stolen Lands to, no, I've hit the nail on the head, haven't I? Or whatever else from Restov, or the average farmer, hunter-gatherer, Kellen, who won't put up with any of their shit, put them together into one cohesive unit, outfit them perhaps with explosives, as it is. I'm beating around the bush. Let me be the general.
Oh my god.
Well, as I said, it's not my call exactly, but I will express your opinion and desire to the king. It's definitely an issue that needs to be resolved as soon as possible, clearly. I hope we have bought ourselves the time to, and in a weird way, I hope the Jabberwock has bought us the time to remedy that situation.
You say Jabberwock and more Fae creatures who are listening and go scurrying away. Yes, see, you got it! There you go. Sometimes threatening their lives will work as well. Obviously, I love Pearl of Ash to death, but that doesn't mean I don't have to threaten to incinerate them once in a while. They don't understand we're serious. They think it's a joke, it's pranks, it's frustrating is what it is, but we digress.
Well, in any event, your assistance is greatly appreciated, as is your discretion. I'll return in a couple of days then, and I apologize for the rather gruesome nature of the task, but I believe it's ultimately for the best.
I mean, we've been carving up the undead for a while. This is another nail in that coffin. Go do your thing. You know where to find me if you need somebody to talk to.
I bow a little bit and then head out.
He begins whistling What Does the Fox Say as I check the banter chat. Okay, so then anybody else got anything else they want to do? Anyone they need to talk to?
I would probably go inform Cato of all of what I've learned now. Assuming, would you like that to be a scene, Del?
Yeah, I think everyone's kind of heading. I know Tara said she's coming back to report. You'll probably come report. In the meantime, while this is all going on, I don't know if Tommy wanted to have anything happen during my roughly 6 to 7 days of solitude and meditation.
Yeah, no, we should. You're right. What do we want to do? Do we want... Yeah, you know what? I got one. I need to open a folder. Achilles would really like to come into this room. Pearl of Ash would like to be the general, and he's campaigning outside my door. He's filibustering outside my door to become the general. I screen capped a bunch of these because I was going to use them, and then I didn't use them, and now I'd like to use them. And to get them, I just need to go into this folder, and that's where the quotes are. I swear to God, if I lost them, no, okay, here they are. Dope. Sounds good. I needed to steal some dialogue from the CRPG because it's really good. This probably like oh, that popped up right where OBS is picking up. That's rude. Right around like the 3 or 4 day mark of your vigil, you get ready to bed down. There's a knock at your door, a pretty hard one, very insistent, almost as if like not a person, but like a giant was like kicking in the door. It's a wonder it doesn't just give.
Cato will grab his sword, run to the closed door, put his back to it, kind of lean his head up against it, and say, "Who's there? Who goes there? Sorry. Who goes there?"
And behind you, appearing just out of nowhere, the ghostly visage of a priest of Gorum that you slew so long ago. Well, is this how the warrior king of Concordia greets an honored guest? You're looking well.
And you're looking dead.
He kind of like looks at his bicep, looks at his other bicep. A little bit.
how are you? Why? How are you here? What do you want?
I want rest. I want what is waiting for me in the afterlife. I want to sit and drink and eat in the halls of Gorham. But I am plagued with unlife. I have go amongst your people, ask them rumors of a big Khalid ghost and the slaying and exorcism of them. I have tried to seek my death as a warrior, and yet I return.
You fought well. I don't see why you wouldn't be granted passage.
He just kind of like stares off. I fought well. To fight well is one thing. To fight well for a cause is another. Before we came to blows, I wanted to parley. There are things you need to know about my people. Hopefully, by spreading these, it can help me find some form of rest. The Tiger Lords are... He, like, reaches a hand forward to pinch the bridge of his nose and kind of just collapses his forehead into the, like, his outstretched fingers. Who am I to confront my chieftain? Who am I to say anything about wandering around these lands chasing the unknown? The great Armagh, spirits bless him, he trusts these damn priests as if they were holy oracles. That's why we were out here, searching for the gods know what. I was ordered to... I believe you call it Ashgard now? Or will that title stick now that the damn half-elf is gone to serve evil forces? In any case, I was bid hold that stronghold, as a friend of mine was led astray by these... And he, like... In Hallett says a bunch of real loud, angry curse words.
And what was it you were sent to find? What was so important to come into?
I wish I knew. The sisters are looking for something, but they won't tell anyone what it is. I guess it's some antique that used to belong to the Cyclops, some magic trinket or something. As for me, the only thing I was looking for is a good reason to quit this nonsense and return to Numeria as soon as possible. But instead, my warriors and I died meaningless deaths. It always ends this way. Creatures like... He bites his tongue real hard. I believe they call themselves the Defaced Sisters. They breed ill blood between people, and then good fighters die for no reason. He goes to, like, slam his fist into the wall. It just phases through. This only incenses him further.
Do you know if they intend to keep pushing to find whatever it is they're looking for?
Admittedly, I've been a little out of touch.
Fair enough.
But I would assume, yes. Word amongst your people. And he fades away invisible. Don't like it, but I suppose I get to do little magic tricks as well now too. Gorham, forgive me. Fades back in. Is that they've fled Numeria because these damn Fae have appeared out of nowhere and routed good warriors. I shudder at the thought. I imagine once we are done rearming, licking our wounds, and recruiting, back we come.
Well, we will be ready.
Ready for what?
For whatever comes. To fight, to protect our people and our beliefs, and to drive the Tiger Lords before us.
And then what? And then they flee back to Numeria. Unless you're going to talk about exterminating my entire people, that we are just going to return. By profession, we are mercenaries. By heritage, we are proud, shall we say. all of the tribes in Numeria, everyone has a different role to play. Some of us delve the ruins, some of us sell adamantine, some of us are mercenaries. I've seen things in Numeria that make no sense to me. I've seen those things tear warriors apart. I've seen those in the hands of Tiger Lords as well. You continue to poke a bear, the bear gets bigger and bigger and arms itself further and further. What I'm saying is I don't think the Tiger Lords have any qualm with you. I think someone is manipulating my chief, my friend, and my people. For what? The gods only know. He kind of leans back against the wall, starts to phase through it, realizes he can't sulk like that, and then leans back up.
So these defaced sisters, they are the true plague. They're the ones leading this Armeg to do everything that he is doing.
He nods.
And if we were to eradicate this plague, do you think that would allow your people to find peace?
Certainly it would allow them to not be given meaningless deaths driven upon your borders. Let us go back to where we are from. Let us go back to earning decent coin instead of being thrown on wave and wave of your warrior kings and Restovic sword lords. I'm all for a good fight. What I'm not for is pointless sacrifice of men and women. And he just kind of clenches his fist.
I understand. Though I cannot guarantee that there will not be blood before the end. To achieve what must be achieved, many more of your people will die. But hopefully we can free them from this bondage, so to speak, and those that do survive can return home and start a new life. And those who have fallen can hopefully rest, yourself included.
He nods. You know, he looks at himself, looks at you, looks back at himself. We're not very different, you and I. One of us may be objectively a little bigger, one of us may dress a little fancier, but I think at the end of the day, we want the same thing. We want what our people want, we want our people safe, we want our people to get their just deserts and rewards. We value honor, we value the strength of the blade, and he, in Unlife, he has manifested as he draws it, flips it in his hands, and then it returns to the scabbard, that greatsword again. Turns out it doesn't super matter the way you dress. One warrior king is as good as another. In a different life, perhaps you and I could have been friends. Seemed to be that way with the half-elf. May Gorham forgive her.
Cato's expression sort of sulkens. I think it only right that you know what happened, that you know the truth. The one that you cherished, the half-elf you speak of. My old friend, your adopted daughter, Kalira. How long has it been since the battle, Tommy?
3 or 4 days.
3 or 4 days. She met us on the field of battle only a few days ago.
Wait. Do we know this in character about their connection?
I do.
No, because you killed her too fast. You killed Dugoth too fast for Kalira, who had gone the other way to see Dugoth and be like,
Right.
oh, that's that guy.
I thought that
But
she
Cal and I had to talk about it, and she even asked me if there were any young girls with her because she was concerned that her daughters might have been with him as well.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. My bad.
Yeah.
So you're the only one that knows.
I'm actually the
Perfect.
only one that actually knows about this. Yeah. So to continue, Kalira actually met us on the field of battle standing aside the dark forces that she pledged herself to. And it breaks my heart to say, although she did everything in her power to try to destroy us, she fell. I do not know where her heart, or not her heart, I do not know where her soul is destined to go, though I do hope that it will also find her way to Gorham somehow, though given that she had given herself over to such darkness, I cannot say.
I suppose only time will tell. Thank you for telling me. He kind of just like clenches his fist and gets real quiet, closes his eyes. I wish I could have done more. Too busy on this expedition the sisters want. They insist on this expedition, yet it is my people's price to pay.
We failed her just as much as anyone else. Her death, her needless death, is on all of our hands, and it is something that we will all have to live with for the rest of our days.
And over what? Some magic toy? And he like spins his finger up in the air that once belonged to the ancient Cyclops. How many people needed to die for it?
Too many.
He nods. In any case, I don't think I will find rest anytime soon. I could go sprinting off into Glenabon and go wrestle however many bears come and find me, though I imagine I don't smell appetizing these days. I hesitate to ask. I understand the Black Stag and my people. It is not the best relationship. I understand your Abadar and your cities and your walls and what my people stand for are in opposition. I understand you may have someone else in mind. I may not be the cloth cut for this that you might have pictured, but my days as mercenary are over. If my fate is indeed tied to what happens to my people, presumably what happens to my people through the eyes of some golden-eyed sword king, perhaps I can be of service. You have bested me in honorable combat. If you would ask it, my sword is yours. I don't know how these local runabouts would take to having someone such as myself. And he stretches his chest out real big and then pokes his own hand through his chest. Big and ethereal, strange combination. In their armies, leading their armies, slaying their enemies. But I know my people. I also know that conventional weapons probably don't hurt me anymore. If you would ask it, my service is yours.
Oh boy. Tommy, you should have heard the howling coming from well, I think you can still hear Tara.
I can.
Oh my god, there's so many. Everyone's throwing their name in this hat.
Well, he didn't necessarily
He
say
didn't.
general. He just kind of says
No.
roaming around. So
He says leading your. He's definitely implying he would
He,
like.
he
God
says
damn it.
leading your forces, yeah. I will take the offer under advisement. We will. I feel like my companions and I will have much to discuss.
He nods.
Though, do you see yourself finding peace once this plague that is affecting your people, I use plague figuratively, of course, is resolved or is put to rest?
I suppose I could try to kill your crossbow-wielding priest, and we could see if that does it. But
That might
No.
give you some.
he smiles real big. You help? You and me against him, 2-on-1. We got this.
Oh, I would hate to deny you the glory of taking him yourself.
See, exactly. We're basically the same person. Armag is a friend. We grew up together. I watched the sisters tell him that he is destined for greatness, sequester him away. I suppose when you are the reborn aspect of a once great warlord of my people, it is a righteous fate. That said, I have no desire to watch these damned, and something in Galadriel loud, harm my friend any longer. Yes, I think if the Tiger Lords could find whatever it is they are trying to find, if Armag the Twiceborn could achieve his destiny, if the sisters could be removed from my people by force if necessary, perhaps then Gorham would welcome his faithful priest into his halls.
And if Armeg does not relent,
then he will die a warrior's death, and perhaps Gorham will welcome him instead.
as long as we have that understanding.
In the meantime, is there... I suppose there's no need to mince words like a coward, even though I am dead. Is there somewhere I can perhaps manifest in peace? I don't want to just hang out in your room if I can avoid it, but I think if a ghost of a Tiger Lord was stalking the streets of your city, well, it might upset a few people.
I think something can be arranged. Remain here for at least until a certain errand that I've requested has been completed, and then once that is done, I can try to find something more private and permanent for you.
He nods. One condition. You snore really, really loud. Keeps me up at night. I can't deal with it. And he,
How long have you been here?
long enough. I've been working up the courage to manifest myself. This form is without honor. By rights, and he inhale it, big string of words that don't sound nice. Fine. And he just kind of his feet, which end as he floats up a little bit in a wispy little nimbus of cloud, he just kind of crosses his arms and begins chanting prayers to Gorham until he slowly fades away. You're pretty sure your room's haunted. But... Senia!
Senya, I have a haunt I need you to get rid of.
Oh, I'm gonna have to have words with him.
Indeed.
Ooh.
Okie dokie. So then about a week passes, unless anybody else has any other pressing concerns right now.
Nope.
And a week passes, the item is complete. Senia returns with grave news. And yeah, y'all have many things to talk about and discuss.
I'm just playing chess with the ghosts right now.
Oh, High Priest, there you are. Hello, Arcturus. Knight to E5. I can't touch the damn thing.
Are we calling another meeting then?
I mean, I'm in my room.
Okay.
I ain't doing shit until I have what I need.
I assume, Ionia and you should
I'll
have
just-
one-on-one.
I'll just deliver that then. Come knock on the door.
He quickly gestures to the guy. What's his name? God damn it! Did we ever get his name? Dugoth. To disappear quickly.
And he disappears as soon as the door starts opening.
Were you talking to yourself?
Okay, this is entirely pointless, Kato. They're going to figure it out eventually. And that this just, I guess this is the first time you've seen him. This enormous ghost of a Khalid, whose picture is not of a ghost, but I will fix that between here and a better screenshot, because I should get his name too. Boom. Manifests in Kato's room, floating. You knew they were going to find out sooner or later.
Hi.
Hello.
Kato, You want to explain this? Does this have anything to do with your
No,
present situation?
no, completely unrelated. I would like you to meet. Son of a. Could you put the name in the chat? Because I'm never.
Yeah.
I need to read it a few times before I'm ever gonna remember this name.
See, that's why I took a screen cap with his name.
He just posted it in the private.
Yeah, I'll put it again. Dugoth, priest
Dugoth.
of Gorham, high priest of the Tiger Lords, and
Oh, I see the image now. Okay,
vengeful apparition, I suppose.
Yeah. this is Dugoth.
Interesting choice of guest.
I mean, not really by choice, but he grows on you.
Says the blind woman who looks like her father was a dragon.
Well, I mean, we're not fighting blind dragons. We are fighting tiger lords. So,
Kato quickly stands up. He says, "Yes, about that. We can discuss that later. Do you have it? Do you have the thing?"
yeah, but this seems a little more. I
You would say,
feel like there's an explanation here.
look, when you've been cooped up in your room for a whole week with no one to talk to but a dead guy,
Imaginary
okay?
friend.
Yeah, you'd be a little anxious as well. Give it.
Jeez, okay, here it is.
And with that now.
Not so fast.
disguise.
What do we say? Come on, you know what I want to hear.
Thank you.
No, that's not quite it. Ionia, you're great. You're amazing.
Wait about as sharp as that sword she's carrying. Blind
I-
dragons and Tiger Lords, really.
Can I make a sleight of hand to try to just snatch it?
You could. yeah, sleight of hand would be fine. Or you could bluff. Feint real quick.
Oh yeah, I'll feint you.
How do I counter this?
Sense motive.
Good luck.
Can I
had to
sudden
be a low
insight
roll,
my sense
yeah.
motive?
Oh, that was a shit roll, so you might be okay.
Sure, I guess you can. If mechanically you could, then yes.
Swift action.
Oh, sure, make it so.
Oh my god.
And immediately there is that game of slap hands as you start pulling on this crap.
Fine. You're great, and you do great craftsmanship, and I'm glad you're here, and you're a good friend, and thank you. Now, can I please have the thing?
And I'm beautiful.
Dugoth makes to rib you with his elbow. It goes through your rib cage, gets real cold, and then goes back to warm again. Well, that doesn't work the way it used to.
It doesn't feel nice though. Maybe let's not do that. You're cold.
You're
Funny
cold.
rib- oh.
Yeah, he's definitely bro ribbing Kato.
Yes, I know. And I'm gonna just keep pulling.
Fine, you can have it.
All right. So Kato kind of holds the newly re-enchanted crown in his hand and kind of examines it. It looks exactly the same, except it's. I guess I can't really detect the magic off of it because I don't have any kind of sense that does that. But I just assume it is what it's supposed to be. So, with a deep breath, Kato places it on himself and activates the Alter Self spell from the enchantment.
And the greater hat of disguise functions exactly as you wanted it to.
Pew! Kato Sicarius is now Kato Sicarius again.
Did you want me to bring in the women now?
There's another ribbing. Should I excuse myself? Should I wander the streets of Concordia until people freak out?
I hear it like an audience, actually.
He pauses for a moment
my.
before realizing. He pauses for a moment before realizing that she's most likely joking, and then laughs, and then says, "Okay, now to address the elephant in the room, the very big barbarian
You mean the
elephant.
Fire Lord.
Yes, the tiger-shaped elephant in the room.
It's a strange avatar-like creature, a tiger elephant.
This is actually the one that Artoris and I met at the keep that we renamed for the briefest of moments Ashton.
Oh, the one who didn't question, who clearly had information.
Yes. Well, looks like that mistake fixed
Yeah.
itself.
This is awfully convenient. Don't do it again. Did we get the information?
I mean, we've had a lot of time to talk and reminisce, and he's actually quite.
Expect a full report on my desk by the end of the day.
He's quite a nice guy, actually. For you think Tiger Lords, you think horrible, bloodthirsty savages that want nothing more than to eviscerate you and gorge on your entrails. But no, this definitely doesn't. This man definitely does not fit that bill. He's quite civilized, quite honorable. We've had a great time, talking about combat and honor and glory and wanting the best for our people. And for a ghost, I mean, he's pretty down to earth.
Well, we do have a habit of making friends with ghosts, don't we? No offense, but Kato, are you sure you weren't just super lonely?
I mean, I was. Let's not mince words. But had I not been super lonely, still probably would have got on well with this man. With that,
so what? We're friends now.
He's pitched. He's made a pretty good pitch. He wants to be of use. He wants to be of help. He can't seem to find rest right now, and he's thrown his hat in. He has combat experience and experience leading soldiers in battle. So we've been talking about the possibility of him putting those skills to use in our army.
So why do you want to be in our army and not in your army?
Because my army is led by... He bites his tongue real hard. Do you want to tell her the story, or should I recount it all? Will I be expected to recount it all 4 times when the army is
Others are less curious than I am.
Reasonable.
They might still have questions on this particular one. Should we wait? Should we bring them in and then do story time?
Yes, perhaps. I mean, there's no reason not to call the other members of. You know what? Why am I still hiding out in this bedroom? I've been here for a week. Let's go. First of all, I'm gonna have a shower. Because
Yeah, you should. You feel awful.
I know. I haven't showered in days. I felt there was no need really. So I'm gonna have a shower. You
expensive perfume or something.
It'll just be a minute.
No, that makes total sense. His whole personality just changed. He's going to have a week of a depressive episode. It's fine. He's got his crutch. Let him shower. Baby steps.
Oh my god. With that said, assemble the council, all members. Has Senya returned yet?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I was asking Ione if she knew if Senya had returned yet.
I haven't seen her.
I feel like you two have been just cooped up in your rooms all week doing arts and crafts or brooding.
I see what Ionia did there. She hasn't seen me.
Yeah, I haven't seen her. I love it. Yes, if you can try to find everyone who is present, PC council members and NPC council members included. We need to have a meeting. We need to powwow. And now that I've got this, I'm free from my prison. So yes.
So it's been a while and people have died. Council members, you, me, Senya, Artoris, Jubilost, was he?
Yes.
Yeah. Bakken, Chief
Sootscale, if he's
is
around.
that everybody?
Still no word on.
Sprat was replaced Grinluke.
Yes, Sprat's currently overseeing the city guard in Grinluke's absence. He's like, what do you call it? Acting warden.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's acting warden, so grab him. No word of Dazia, I take it.
I mean, that was we sent Senya to.
Right, but she could have showed up during the week on her own accord. I take it.
Well, I've been busy.
Fair.
Making you a clone, so I haven't really been all that social myself. I guess I could have been like doing that in here, and then we could have. I don't know.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. You didn't want to spend a week with me. I get it.
Well, you do smell really bad.
Well, I would have showered. I don't know if I would have showered with you in the room, actually. TBH. Let's not even go down that train of thought right now. See who's here. Let's see who's here. I'm going to clean up, and then we will convene. Everyone who is available will convene in the council meeting room within, let's say, 2 hours.
Also, I've heard some whispers. Sounds like we've got several people looking to be our general. Should we gather them in a waiting room?
Let's get an army first, but I have a. I guess it's something we'll have to address for sure.
I guess I feel like we should maybe offer her a position, but let's maybe meet with the current council members to discuss future council members, right?
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah, no waiting room. That's just weird.
Well, I've got 2 dogs, so I will send them to go gather people.
That second dog's still alive?
Yeah, she just kind of she's not as energetic as Minoru's. She mostly just kind of hangs out.
With the other 2 mules that didn't get killed to that one direwolf fight.
She likes to play with the local kids. I mostly just kind of see her out doing that.
Okay.
But anyways, she can go gather people. So I'll send Minoru and Reika, and I will go myself to gather people, and hopefully that will be a little more efficient.
Yeah, nope, sounds good. Should be able to grab them all with relative ease.
And Kato will rub-a-dub-dub, scrub in the tub.
Sounds good. So then a little bit of time passed. Everyone is summoned to the council meeting. There's everybody, like, of NPCs kind of takes in, the big changes that have gone on. And then, like, I guess as soon as everyone is sat down, all right, I'm not going to mince words, looks over at Kato. I don't understand why you didn't end up getting some kind of boon, blessing, or divine choosing kind of thing.
Kato shrugs.
The ego already too big.
Yeah.
Fair. Makes sense.
My ego wouldn't fit in the room if it got any bigger. With that said, these 3, I'm gesturing to the 3, are far more equipped now to carry out the various dangerous tasks that I will undoubtedly assign to them. So that is certainly in our benefit.
Reasonable. I feel like I've talked to all of you over the course of a week from different aspects and in different places. Should I quickly sum up things once again that you've missed, or do we want to just piece it together? No, don't even. Why do I even bring that up? Okay, so based on what I've heard from all of you, around the time you were dancing with Kalira, an army of Tiger Lords, an army of Sword Lords, presumably a contingent of Hell Knights, and gods know what else, all come together for a big group hug at Oleg's, only to be attacked by a Jabberwock during the, the people are starting to call it the Bloom. What with all the flowers that I imagine aren't going anywhere. There are more creative names, but it is also an apt one. Fortunately, our enormous creature of nightmares friend has been able to drive most of our enemies off our doorstep, and with Vortikai off to Pharasma's judgment and summationally sent to any, stumbles off again. With him heading straight, presumably, to Abaddon, we've bought ourselves a little bit of breathing room, but only just a little bit. Obviously, we are building a very wonderful and splendid and divinely blessed thing here. We happen to also be sitting smack in the middle of a bunch of powerful people with powerful tools that certainly are going to... Exactly. You get it.
Yes.
We've been dodging it for a while. I think a formal military is in order. And I think it would be best if, and then, everyone who has asked to be general, except Dugoth, who has not taken this moment to manifest, like immediately throws their hat in the ring, talking over one another, super loud with like their own qualifications.
All right. Settle down. Buchan, Buchan makes clearly a good point, an obvious point. The council has too long been responsible for the defense of the kingdom. At the beginning, that was sufficient enough. As we began to grow, that deficiency, however, became manifest with the losses we suffered in Thornburg, the attack on the Lich attack on our capital. We were not able to be everywhere at once, and as a result, many died, much was destroyed. You don't need to tell me, though I do appreciate you bringing urgency to it. You do not need to tell me the necessity that we currently find ourselves in to have a true standing army. So, with that said, we have many, many great candidates to lead this force. The council, remember the four of us, gesturing to the Artoris, Senya, Ionia, and himself, will certainly need to deliberate on who is most appropriate to lead said force. However, yes, it is of the utmost priority of this kingdom from this point onward to build the infrastructure, train the army, assign leadership positions within that army, and make sure that our borders are defended, whether it be Tiger Lords, whether it be Northerners, whether it be another supernatural lich-like enemy that might spontaneously appear unannounced because you threatened its familiar.
Now that sounded personal. Is there something I'm missing?
Regardless of the
Tor
threat.
shakes his head.
Hey, that's lying. No. Poo.
Well, no, I meant.
Regardless of the threat, we must be ready for it, and the four of us, or all of us here sitting in the room, is not enough. So, yes. From this point onward, I am issuing the order of construction of garrisons,
Barracks
garrisons in to be situated in bordering village settlements, which there are 2 new ones which we have actually planned to construct, as well as the construction of a military academy for the training of officers to lead these forces. So, with that said, so that we don't have all of you talking over each other, I know many of you have already pitched your credentials in wanting to head up this force, but is everybody here literate? I imagine everyone here except maybe Senya is literate.
Senya is probably, like, if she wasn't literate to start, she's literate at this point, having lived in, like, with a culture that would be for a year, and even if she wasn't, the restriction of illiteracy on barbarians is, like, 2 archetypes in Pathfinder.
I think I repeat how I learned to read, so
right, I remember.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that. That was so long ago. That was an old life when
It was too.
Jeez. All right. So all who are interested in that position, I will have you, and he puts down a stack of like parchment to sign your name.
Oh my god.
And that will be our nomination list, and then we will deliberate on the matter.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna have them do resumes.
No, just nominations. If you want to nominate yourself for the role, feel free to add a few points, though. I mean, if you think you can think of anything that might, sweeten your. But
oh my lord! I was hoping you would say that. And Jubilos withdraws a binder and slams it on the table, pushes it over.
Though I feel
all of those to my thumbs up.
Though I feel like we know all of you well enough to know what you're capable of and what you're not capable of. So, obviously, stick to the truth. With that said,
please.
With all of that said, yes, that is the plans to move forward with the military development. Tommy, how do we? Is there any opportunity at this point to broach the topic of? I don't know how we would even know airships exist,
I mean, how would you though?
or should we wait?
You don't.
We have to go to the air temple.
You gotta
Hang
get-
on, I haven't given you guys my report yet on my findings, and
Right, that's next. Once we're done, that was gonna be our next matter.
Don't worry about dead priestesses. Let's talk about technology. Looking forward, never backward.
Okay, we'll hold on that
Yeah.
for now. All right. So with that matter, and if no further concerns about that, I will hand the floor over to Senya for her report on her scouting mission.
I'm afraid the news is not great. I was able to pick up Dazia's trail, but it seems like Dazia headed north instead of south towards the Lebanese, where we've asked her to scout. So, and it seems like she's run into a force of Tiger Lords. There was a fight, though I couldn't find her body there, so it's safe to assume that there's still hope that she's alive. But the trail that was left by the Tiger Lords went back into Numeria, and I did not want to risk tracking them and going too far out without further backup.
That's troubling.
It's strange that she would go in the opposite direction than we had asked her to travel.
Yeah, she did send us that bird messenger telling us about the forces that were moving along the north. So perhaps she felt that was of a much more immediate concern to scout for us.
She felt that was the more immediate concern. She should have said so, rather than just taking it on herself to do whatever she pleases.
We can't know her intentions until we've hopefully found a way to find or rescue her. However, at this point in time, she has never given us any reason to doubt her. So until there's evidence to the contrary, I'm willing to give her the benefit of the doubt.
Perhaps we should just take this moment, as we're all gathered here as a council. If at any point any of you feel that the task we've given you is not the best thing for you to be doing, maybe tell us instead of just doing something where we can't send backup or have any kind of preparation.
A general nod from amongst the assembled NPCs.
If Dazia is indeed missing and has no, I assume, are we going to send a detachment to rescue her immediately? What is the plan?
I would like to point out that for Dazia, the safety of her people, she's always put that first. And I think I can understand why she changed her course.
She should have informed us, is all I'm saying.
She should have. I agree. However, like I said, I'm willing to give her the benefit of the doubt that she had to make a split-second decision with and maybe she made the wrong one. It's very likely, but I do not think it was done with the intention to be insubordinate.
Did you speak with her people, Senya?
I have, and
they know?
they don't know yet what I have found, but I have spoken with some of them before I set out to get it, to see if perhaps they might have heard back from her, but the sense I've got was that they haven't seen her since, but they seem to be worried.
Did you get the impression that maybe they knew she was heading in that direction rather than toward the Lebanese?
I got the impression that they were not telling everything, but they weren't exactly forthcoming with all of their information.
We can't have this kind of secrecy amongst our leaders. We need to be more
Yeah.
forthright with one another, all of us.
That is a little more troubling to think of. Okay, well, clearly mistakes of communication were made. Other mistakes followed from that poor communication. The immediate question regarding Dazia's current safety, there is someone who might be able to shed some light on what the Tiger Lords would do with someone they took captive.
Jugoth?
Kato's gonna start kind of whispering off to the side.
Cut to black.
What time is it? Are we out of time?
Yeah.
Oh, we're at 2.
Oh, okay. So just to close things out, you're gonna see Kato kind of like whisper over his shoulder, like nodding, shaking his head, nodding, telling.
Well, he manifested, right?
No, he's been in hiding, I think.
Oh, I thought Tommy said he manifested.
Not yet.
Not yet.
My bad.
But he
That's
does
why-
in response. He manifests. There's big from everybody. He steps. He floats a little bit forward because he has to be just outside of the perma-detect chaos that the arbiter has. Otherwise, just, whoop, chaos detected. There's some invisible shit over there. Whoop, whoop, whoop,
Senya
oh, no.
grabs the hilt of her sword.
George
What is
stands
this
up.
man doing here?
Hold on. Put your swords away. Put your hands down. This is not an enemy.
He's
This is
not.
someone who can help us.
Next session.
And
Just
as far
let
as
me-
what he's doing
Yes.
here, well, let me tell you, you'll have to find out next
That-
time.
There we go.
Thank you all for watching. My bad Dugath, who also is kind of Chief Sutsuke. This is the if I need to do like a big duty dude, this is the voice I do, I guess. So haha. And thank you all for watching, and thank you all for your support, and please be sure to like, subscribe for more cool stuff. And if you want me to throw ghosts at you while you're showering, you can support me on Patreon. Till
Yeah.
then, we out. Say bye, y'all.
Bye,
Bye,
y'all.
y'all.